So what I wanted to go over and touch on, and I came inside, it's just, it's a lovely day in Southwest Virginia from a weather perspective. It's windy and it was supposed to be sunny and 60 today or somewhere around about there, and instead it's cloudy and kind of in that high 40s feeling. So not the best for filming. So brought this inside. Yeah, that sucks. Let me start over. So I brought this inside because it's another lovely day in Southwest Virginia where it's very windy and only moderately chilly, so not the best to film outside in. Now, I was going to cover a couple of budget options to go through and drill or bore your timbers for your pegs. So when you're going through and looking at this, these are two budget options, okay? So the first option, I just knocked me up a jig. 2x6s, went through, cut a notch out of it, you see here, and then went through and took two other 2x6s. Make sure your edges are perfectly square, so you want a good 90-degree angle there and there, and that's it. You know, just stagger them to where it fits over your notch, and then screw them down. So I did mine. I probably should flush these up to where it sits perfectly flat on the timber itself when I'm boring, but it's good enough. I've not had any issues with it. But getting back to it, this method will go through and give you a very consistent perpendicular hole in your timber for your pegs. Okay, so if I'm going through and building a barn or something, I can go through, got my wood all bit, I can lay it in this, I can run it all the way down, and then when I start drilling, these two boards, as long as I've got them perpendicular, as long as I've got them, my two planes, I've got one plane here, that's at 90, another plane here, that's at 90, using this board, and it's going to be a straight up and down drill. All right, so it's going to go straight up and down and drill my hole, or bore my hole. Very effective. You've got scrap wood laying around. If you don't, you aren't a woodworker. So get you any kind of scrap. Doesn't have to be 2x6s. It can be 2x8s, 2x4s. It doesn't matter. It's just what I had scrap laying around. You can see my little depth gauge here. I put in some tape so I know how far to bore it down before I back out. All right, but that's a good effective method. You can still wobble with this. All right, there are drawbacks to it. It's a good budget option, but if this is something that, you know, this isn't your day job, you get out there and you don't have materials or time to do a lot of test bores to make sure you get everything right, then, you know, this will do, but you can still get off a little bit, and it doesn't take much. That little bit there, you see that? Over the course of 7 inches, you know, 7-8 inches as far as your standard width on your beams, your timbers, up to 12 or 13 inches, that adds up. And it does not take much deflection here to really throw that off. Okay, so just a little bit goes a long way. So like I say, if you get off just that much, you drill all the way through, that's almost a 1/4 inch on the other side. Not going to affect, it's not going to affect the structural integrity of your beam. Anybody who says being off by that much on a peg is going to cause it to fall down is an idiot. It's not. So just be aware it's more the aesthetic side. All right, you know, being off that much is not going to go through and cause it to fall down. All right. Now, the other option, if you've got something that you need to be dead nut square on, this is a little drill jig or a drill guide. They make portable drill presses as another option where you can literally put a hand drill in it. This is a drill guide. It's a Miles Craft. I got it off of Amazon. I want to say about 30 bucks. That was pre-plague. So, you know, inflation is a thing. So, you know, yours is going to be a little more expensive probably. But there are cheaper options also. Drawbacks, short travel. All right. So you see this? I'm only getting 6, maybe 8 inches of good travel there. All right. but it just limits on how far I can push that. It's not going to go all the way through my beam, and I don't need it to. All right, you can look at this and go, oh, that's not going to go all the way through a 12-inch beam or even a 7-inch. But it does to my pilot hole. All right, I can drill this straight down in. Once I get, say, 3 or 4 inches down, all right, I've got me a nice, good bore hole. Don't tell the wife the dust, I'll clean that off. Then I can come back with my actual auger bit and finish it all the way through. All right, it's pretty hard once you've got that hole started to really wallow it out that much. This is going to give you your most accurate one. You have to try to get this off more than about an eighth of an inch or so. I mean, like, you've really got to work at it to get that off. Okay, so this is the more accurate option for cheaper. I've got about $30 in this. This is a wood owl bit. I think I paid about 12 or 13 bucks for. But pretty good option for pretty cheap. You know, a little over 40 bucks or right around there. That'll get me started. This, I've got this laying around in scrap materials. All right, so this is free. Going to take a little bit of practice to get used to it, but once you do, you can get pretty straight with it. The only risk is it is still easy if you're being careless to get off. Okay, it doesn't take much to go through and be visible, or at least enough to notice. If you get the right client, you're doing a gazebo or something that's going to be very visible, a lot of eyeballs up underneath it, I'm going to have to feel pretty comfortable doing this. This is going to have to be something that I've had a lot of practice with and been prepared for, and I feel confident with to utilize. So now there are timber frame versions of these drill guides. They're going to have a 1/2 inch chuck. This is a 3/8, so it can only take a smaller bit. They have close to 2 feet of travel in them. This has, again, probably close to 8 inches if I had to measure it, somewhere in there. So those are going to do better for timber framing. They're going to be accurate, and they will drill all the way through with the auger bit. I don't need to drill the pilot hole because they take the whole auger bit and go through. They are $300+ for them. This is $40 with the auger bit, all right, give or take. So find out what fits your budget and what fits your appearance standards. Okay, again, being off a 1/4 inch on your peg is not going to cause it any structural integrity. All right, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, a word about auger bits. I am a big fan of, and I will show you at the end of the video, the results of using this particular auger bit. This is a wood owl or wood owl bit. I can't pronounce. It's a redneck in me. I can't talk. We can't speak. Excellent bit. It's lightweight, like really lightweight, versus if you go pick up the Diablo, the steel one. This is, I'm not even sure what this is made out of, but it is very lightweight material and cuts an excellent bore. I mean, it is smooth. Made in Japan, so excellent quality on them. And price on these is very affordable. I want to say I paid about 30 or so bucks for this. I can't remember exactly, but it was not that expensive. I was surprised for a made in Japan product. Head is a 7/16 hex, so just be aware of that. All right. But whatever bit, at the end of the day, it's up to you. I bought this because it was about the same price as what I could find at Lowe's or Home Depot, and it's far better quality. So a couple of options there, by far not the only ones. Again, just wanted to go through and present everybody with some options there and give you some ideas about how to drill for your pegs and not make them look ugly. You want to look at your beam. So the very first thing you want to do, this is a 7x7 section of white pine. Plane this and make sure it's flat. Okay? This is not flat. If I set it up here, this is going to wobble. So if you've got a timber that you've not gone through and planed down or smoothed down, it's going to bow and cup in different areas. All right, so make sure you go through and you get this planed down, your drilling surface flat and perpendicular as you can. Okay, make sure that's all. Get that tight. Oh, I didn't tighten my drill guide. What I get for not paying attention. There we go. So, obviously you'd line this up and have your specific mark where you're going to drill through, but basically clamp that down. So you want to go through and clamp this down, because again, you can see I can still walk this. All right, but clamp it down or press it down with your foot or something. I'm not doing that for the video. Once I got it going, all right, so disconnected from that. Come on. Oh, going the wrong way. Swap out my bits. And see, I've got a guide hole that's already lined up. And I can drill it the rest of the way. This is not the fastest method, but if I need perfection, or at least pretty darn close to it, that's the method I'm going to go with. Now, getting back to my other option. So my other options come over here. I get this. I'm going to put my foot back here, keep it stable. And what I'm going to do is just line it up, get it in that saddle, and slide it down until I'm nice and perpendicular, and then just start drilling. And that's it. That will work just fine. You can get off if you're not careful and you're out of practice or just being careless. You can still get off some with that. You can still get off 1/8, maybe 1/4 inch. I'd say 1/4 inch is possible if you're being pretty careless. So take your pick. If you're on a budget, go knock you something up. That's gonna, using some 2x6s, 2x4s, 2x8s, whatever you got laying around, that'll work fine. If you got a little bit more money and you need something that looks pretty nice, but you don't want to spend $300+ on it, get you a drill guide. You can pick those up cheap, and that's it. You'll have fun.